This is Marissa again, and this little section of the video is going to be on language arts. And I think that's what they're calling it in the classroom these days. Sometimes it goes by grammar or English or composition. You can hear all those different terms when you're Googling resources, but we're gonna stick with language arts, and this is gonna be written and oral communication, essentially. So you can take this in a lot of different ways, and I kind of give you that broad brushstroke because this includes things like rhetoric and speech. It includes creative writing. It includes parts of speech and kind of the micro level of grammar, and if you wanted, diagramming sentences, things like that. And then just some of the basic skills. Oh, that's my children in the background. They're with their dad right now, so I apologize, but this is going to be a good enough video. They're going to be fine. And so there's going to be handwriting, vocabulary, spelling, all of that for the younger years. Okay, so first, I am a strong believer that literature and reading is the foundation for good language arts. That your child is going to learn more by reading quality writing than by any parsing of any grammar nitty-gritty you can do. And I say that as a novelist, so I'm a little bit biased, but I've also seen it played out in my own life and my children's lives in the writing courses I've taught. So if nothing else, that should be the spine. That should be the engine driving the train of your English grammar language arts program. Should be good books. And we'll talk about book lists, about how you get diverse books, but you're gonna look for Charlotte Mason, who's a beloved educational philosopher, talks about twaddle-free books. In other words, it's gonna be good content and quality level of writing. Now, does that mean you're also not gonna get, the little, I'm not going to name any because as a fellow author, that feels pretty rude. But are you not, when I was growing up, the category of this would have been like Sweet Valley High or something, where there's not a lot of quality content. It's fluff. It's like the junk food of reading, You're going to include some of that because reading should just be fun. And if that's what your kids are drawn to, you're not going to remove books from them. Let them read whatever they want. But for your intentional focus teaching them English and language arts, you're going to try and get quality literature. And in doing this, they are going to grow their vocabulary, they're going to grow their comprehension, and you will hear in your other homeschooling research, you'll come across this, that you really should be targeting a very broad reading skill category. You may know, I know schools do this now and books do this now, they have little coded levels. I would not pay any attention to that, honestly, and see what your child's drawn to, what they're able to read and comprehend, and then give them things above that and give them things below that. Just get it all. We have library cards for every child, and our library has 100 book max, and I have maxed cards out before. And with curbside pickup, you should do that. With ebooks, you should do that. You should take advantage of the library and kind of be frivolous with the holds you place, because your children may surprise you with what they pick up and how they're fondly drawn to younger levels. And it's okay if they read something and don't fully understand it in an older level. It will push them forward, and those can always be read aloud. So anyway, get a wide range of quality literature and just kind of have it all over the place. And probably in your schedule, when you start planning out this schedule, you're going to want daily required reading for set times from the books you have procured. So you're going to give them freedom to maybe pick one, but then they're going to need to finish it, and it's going to be one from ones you've curated. And then maybe they'll have some free reading too, but we'll talk about that in scheduling. Okay, in the early years, you're going to really focus on the micro level of language arts, or if you have older children who just have never really developed this, you can return to this. Bare minimum, you should do some kind of handwriting. Cursive is optional if that's important to you. Some people really advocate for the importance of it, but printing, it's important that they be able to write legibly. So for the young years, you're going to want to do handwriting practice, and this can be as simple as you printing off sheets for free. You can get handwriting workbooks. If they're a little older, you can have them copy out passages from the books they're reading and just kind of help them with letter formation. You don't have to get super complicated or sophisticated with this. Similarly, you could add in spelling and vocabulary. Again, I'm kind of a fan of letting literature do that if they're exposed to that, their vocabulary is going to grow and their spelling. But there are some good workbooks that children can work through to understand spelling rules and learn new vocabulary words. That's kind of up to you. You can also create your own spelling and vocabulary lists from the read alouds you're doing or the chapter books they're reading. You can pick out hard to spell words and have them memorize them or talk about those rules. So you can kind of take this in a bunch of different directions. Similarly, with the early years, you may start doing some reading aloud for them where they practice reading a small segment out loud to you as a beginning to articulate dictation and elocution and these sort of things. But that really will depend on the age of your child. Certainly once you get into the upper years, which is where we're heading next, so upper elementary and on into junior high and high school, you are going to be focusing on that. You want them, they're going to be reading in their head. You want them to be able to practice reading out loud. You want them to be able to practice giving a presentation of some sort, a speech of some sort. Both younger and older ones can do memorization. I think memorizing poetry is great. Memorizing famous speeches or long passages is great. This all falls in these kind of micro, macro levels of how you can weave that in. And so in the upper years is when I really believe, I think it's Susan Wise Bauer in her book, it's either The Well-Educated Child, I think it's The Well-Trained Mind, is what it's called. Anyway, look up Susan Wise Bauer. She kind of argues for not introducing writing until upper elementary, as in not handwriting, but composition and essay writing. And I think that's pretty spot on. I think when you think of the building blocks of writing, in the early years, you want to teach them how to organize their thoughts. And they can do this by what I believe Susan Wise Bauer calls narration. So if they've read a book, you're not going to require them to write a book report, but you are going to require them to tell you about it. Or if they've watched a documentary,